Hi, it's Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media here in Dubai at Breakbulk Middle East. And I have Lars Greiner with me, the CEO of Red Sea Gateway Terminals. Welcome, Lars.
Thanks, Lizzie. It's wonderful to see you as always.
Great to see you. So give us an update on the progress of Red Sea Gateway Terminals. I know there's a lot going on.
Absolutely. So we finally signed our concession agreement in June of last year and commenced operating 4 multi-purpose terminals across the west coast of Saudi Arabia in July. It was a very hairy start. We were given little time to start, but we successfully achieved it. The first couple of months, the first 3 months to be exact, the operation was not where we wanted it to be, and we were busy upstaffing and preparing. However, since the end of September, we've managed to reduce any congestion. And I'm happy to say that right now we have no congestion on any of the 4 terminals, which has been a long time coming.
Well, congratulations. What was your secret?
Simple procedures. We've gotten good people from around the world to come in. We've gotten clear lines of how we're operating. We're focusing very heavily in the future on doing digitalization. But before you can do that, one really needs to have the processes right. And, a large part of that is working with our own team to set up clear procedures, but also engaging customers, working with customers to say what do they need and what are their expectations. It's very much a communication game, and that's something that's not always reflected.
Interesting. And tell me, what kind of cargoes are you seeing on the West Coast?
So at the moment, we're seeing, obviously due to the Red Sea crisis, we still have a very few automotive vessels calling. Our automotive volumes are down about 84%. So it's not very, but we've been fortunate that with the growth in projects on the West Coast, we're seeing a lot of cargo starting to come in, particularly in Yanbu. With the Royal Commission, we're seeing large projects starting and kicking off, wind farms, energy projects, but also some initial mining projects kicking off. And those bring nice volumes. Those bring nice volumes for the startup, and hopefully they will generate export volumes down in the long term as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is this a relatively new region for this kind of project activity?
Very much so. If you look at the greater Saudi Arabia, most people think of Saudi Arabia, they think of the East Coast. It's the known area, it's the developed area. You've got Riyadh, you've got Dammam, you've got Bahrain, which is of course not Saudi Arabia, but next to it. And there's a lot of development, there's rail there. The West Coast hasn't followed the same growth pattern. And thanks to Vision 2030, that focus is now on the West Coast. How do we develop the West Coast? How do we develop industry, manufacturing on the West Coast? Centers of excellence on the West Coast, and really we're at the center of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what kind of manufacturing is under consideration?
I think that's still a way off. Right now, it's predominantly secondary products, wire rods, different further fabricated steels. Leap Year have just turned the ground on a factory to build cranes in Jeddah, so that will see a big significant growth. But the automotive industry is looking at developing a hub on the West Coast, which will hopefully, one already has Kia and Lucid building factories on the West Coast. So those are the kinds of things that are developing, but we hope to see a lot more of that develop. Normally with these kind of developing countries, one sees a move from primary to secondary to tertiary products. Right now, we're busy migrating from primary to secondary. At the same time, we're starting to see the development of some mining, which will hopefully down the line lead to proper mining, and then we will have some primary product exports as well.
Right, and we've known each other a long time, and I know that you did a lot of work in Africa. And I have to think that maybe the reliability, well, you can tell me what the right word is, of the Saudi government, though, makes the development something you can count on?
The Saudis have, one of the reasons I accepted the position in Saudi is I saw the great opportunity in Saudi. It's a very vibrant country. People have got a completely wrong image of Saudi. They think of a historical country that is now developing. It has a young population with 60% of the population under 30 years old. They are generally very well educated. They are now beginning to have the confidence to grow out. And all of that means that it's a dynamic situation with a dynamic population. They're very much people-orientated, friendly people. I've found the Saudis to have a wonderful sense of humor and be lovely people as such. And they have been a bit isolated. And as they're growing and getting more involved, they are seeing opportunities and things are starting to grow. I think we're seeing a point now where the growth is going to start multiplying as Saudis get more confidence and start to grow more. And that's facilitated by a forward-thinking government who is looking for the interests of their people to grow. And I think that's very important.
Absolutely. And how exciting, what an opportunity for you to be on the cusp of all of this, at the beginning of such vast development.
It's a great privilege to play a role in it. I hope that I will contribute to the development of Saudi, and I firmly believe that we will see something similar to even more than what has happened in Dubai and the UAE. Saudi has that potential. They've got a lot more of their own nationals there to develop. I'm excited for the future.
I'm so glad. Well, thank you so much for filling us in on this. We want to keep track of your progress and what's going on the west coast of Saudi. I'm excited now. Sounds like a magazine story to me.
Anytime.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Okay.